Hey there, how's it going? Cat up here. So in my live streamed games, I'm currently running in Foundry Virtual Tabletop, and my players, many of which are fairly new, had a few questions on how distances work, and I thought instead of having to try re-explain it and everything, I would have a video that they could reference and just watch for future use. And you know, if anyone else gets some useful information out of this, then all the better, right? Now I may run things with one or two small tweaks. I mean, that's just par for the course for Cypher. Every GM sort of runs things with a few small tweaks. It's kind of how the game goes, but hey, you know, go ahead and run it how you want. But this is a general guideline on how I like to run things, and for the most part, it sticks pretty close to the rules. So this will give you a good baseline on what you can do. Now, when we're playing in our games, a lot of these situations are going to be theater of the mind, in which case there's going to be no tokens needed on the board, or at most I might have a sort of what I call an abstract grid, which is just this like circular grid that just has like basic zones on it that you can move between. In these abstract zones, you don't have to worry about it because your zone is immediate, next zone over is short, then it goes long for a zone over from that, and then very long zone over from that. Very easy, you don't have to worry about distances really too much or anything like that. However, if we're actually doing in a measured map, with tokens and everything in Foundry, I am currently using the drag ruler mod. Neither the Foundry system nor the drag ruler mod are currently updated to Foundry version 10 as of the recording of this video. You're not going to be using version 10 right now. In the future, if both of those are updated to version 10, then great. Maybe I'll do an update or something if anything has changed at that point. But at the moment, I'm using version 9 of Foundry Virtual Tabletop because that is what those mods still work with. And I mean, without the Cypher system, I can't really run it, so we're going to stick with version 9 for a while. But let's get into it. When moving your character, the drag ruler mod allows a colored line to show what distances you're at, which is really handy. It also soft locks on the different distances so that you can make sure that you get to the maximum that you can for that distance. Immediate distance, which is the blue when you're dragging, is anything that you can do while still doing an action normally. So you do not have to worry about any sort of speed task roll or resource management or anything, just to move an immediate distance, which is up to, like I said, the blue or 3 meters, and then do whatever you want to do, whether it's attack or activate a Cypher or use an ability or anything like that. The next distance, however, is the short distance. This is the green distance, or 15 meters away. If you wish to just move this distance and nothing else, you're fine, you're good. And you can still do the minor actions like opening doors. Basically, like in D&D terms, this would be an object interaction. I don't remember off the top of my head what this is called in Cypher, if there is a name for it. We just still use the term object interaction. Minor things, drawing a weapon, opening a door, stuff like this, just super minor things. If you wish to go a short distance, which once again is green or 15 meters, and do an action, this is going to require, in my games, a speed task roll. The difficulty can vary depending on the terrain and the circumstances and everything like this. Now, I'm not going to tell you the number ahead of time. In my games, I generally do not give out difficulty numbers. I give you a general sense of this is going to be easy, this is going to be hard, this is going to be nigh impossible. So you will know if you're going to want to apply effort or whatnot through a vague description, but I will not be giving you the number because that's just not how I roll. I know some GMs do, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it actually works out incredibly well for a lot of groups. But that's not my thing, and that's not how I roll. The next distance is going to be the long distance. Now, this is the yellow distance, or up to 30 meters. Now, with the long distance, normally you cannot move this distance and make an action at all. And if you want to move this distance and do nothing else that turn, it still involves a speed task roll. Once again, the difficulty can vary. When making speed task rolls for the short distance and long distance, I need you to make those speed task rolls before you actually move, because depending on if you roll a GM intrusion or if there's a failure, certain things might happen. Don't worry about what those are, I'll let you know. But I do need the roll first before you actually move, just so we can narrate how things turn out. There's the very long distance, which is red or 150 meters. It's unlikely you're going to move this distance unless you've got some particular Cypher or an ability I do not know about. But yeah, very, very long is not something we'll generally be dealing with. 150 meters is pretty far away, and I doubt I'm going to be using any maps for that. Honestly, the only times we're going to be using a very long distance, or even beyond that, is in a Theater of the Mind situation, in which case we don't have to worry about it as far as this video is concerned, because this is mostly about measuring tokens and things in Virtual Tabletop. I should mention, of course, there are changes depending on abilities and ciphers. One of the key ones being Fleet of Foot. Those of you that have Fleet of Foot, it's almost like all of your ranges have been extended as far as movement is concerned. In this case, if you want to move a short distance and apply action, you can do so. No roll required or expenditures of resources. If you apply a level of effort, you can even move a long distance and take an action, although any rolls for that action are going to be hindered by a step as well. With Fleet of Foot, you have an unparalleled amount of mobility throughout the map. This way you can separate yourself from the rest of the party and stand there alone, surrounded by enemies. As the GM, I fully support this, so feel free to use Fleet of Foot as often as you can. Now, this was a short video, but hopefully this helps out a little bit. Just to go over things in a very brief detail again, immediate is blue, 0 to 3 meters. Action plus movement, no roll necessary. Short is green, or 15 meters. You can move that distance without a roll, or you can move that distance and take an action, but a speed task is needed. Long is yellow, or 30 meters. You cannot take an action at that distance, but you can move that distance with a speed task. And very long is up to 150 meters, which we probably won't be dealing with. All right, that should do it for now. And as always, stay healthy, stay safe, and have a good one, eh?